Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Randy Hari Prasad, and I work here at the Connecticut Revenue Services. And welcome, everyone. Today, we'll talk about the Earned Income Tax Credit. And I'll start out to show you how easy it is to file your return, get into My Connect, how to get to My Connect, and we'll file a return and show you how you can file your Earned Income Tax Credit and get a refund. And then my colleagues, I will hand it over to my colleagues and they will explain more about Earned Income Tax Credit. There's a few ways that you can get to My Connect. One of them is just simply go to Google, type in My Connect Connecticut Revenue Services, and this will bring you over to My Connect screen. Or you can just go to portal.ct.gov/ in your URL, and this will bring you to the Connecticut Revenue Services homepage. Under the most popular, there is a link here that says My Connect, file, pay, and register taxes online. Okay, so once you click into My Connect, file, pay, and register taxes online, you will be brought to the My Connect home screen. And as you can see on my home screen here, but before we get into the logging in and create a username, I'll show you how easy it is. I wanted to point out some features that we do have on our website, on our My Connect page. You don't need to log in to do these requests. You can just make, like, for example, you make a payment, you can make an estimated payment, you can file an extension. The big one is, where's my refund? And what's my 1099-G amount? Or if you have any documentation to send for your Earned Income Tax Credit, you can simply come to this panel, click on the Earned Income Tax Credit. But I'll talk a little bit more after this once we finish filing the return. Over here, we have some additional resources. They're very important. Check it out. We have some individual tax information. This will all take you to the Connecticut Revenue Services web pages, and you can find more detailed information there. We do have a panel here for tutorials, how to create your username, password, and file certain returns. There's a lot more to do in here. But filing the individual income tax return for the 1040 or the NRPY, you need to log in to create a username and password to log into My Connect. Before you log into My Connect, I wanted to explain a little bit about forget username and password. I know many of you probably come here like last year, and now they come back again after a year. Of course, you'll forget the username and password. Don't worry, you don't even have to call DRS to retrieve your username and password. You can simply click on the forget username and password. Once you're here, let's say if you forget the username, you will enter your email address that you created the profile originally with. Enter that, then we will send you your username in your email inbox. Or you can do the same thing. Let's say enter your username. If you know your username, it will send you a link if you forget your password. All right, I'm going to return back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and click on create a username. There's a lot more information here to read up, the username requirements. Click next. And for today's demo purposes, I'm going to go ahead and select individual. And this is where I'm going to enter my social security number. And this is where I'm going to enter my last name. Once everything matched that you entered in the system and click next, I was able to pass the first validation step, which is good. Then there's another validation step where you enter the tax type, individual income tax. And then you have to enter the federal just gross income from one of your most 3 recent state tax returns. And that's where I'm going to do now, enter that amount in here. If everything matched in the system, then I should be able to go to the next screen, which I did, to create the username. So now I'm going to just create the username really quick here. Enter the email address, all the necessary fields. Please take note of the right side of the password requirements. Confirm my password. And here's a security question. Enter that information in there. If everything looks good, it looks like my phone number is not formatted properly. So I'm going to do that. Everything looks good. I should get to the next screen, but I will get a warning message. Basically, I'm missing I did that intentionally to show you that these fields are required, and anything that's missing in My Connect, that's where you're going to enter that information in My Connect. All right, so now I'm on the profile summary. Everything looks good. I'm just going to hit submit button and I get a confirmation and I'll click OK. And now I created my profile. It's that easy to create your My Connect profile. So now I have my username. I'm just going to enter that in here and I'm going to log it into My Connect, enter my password, click login. And now I've been brought into My Connect. As you can see in My Connect, once I logged in, the upper left side, it will tell you your name so you know it's you that logged in. Your social is masked there and your address. Upper right side, it says welcome Randy and first and last name. Manage my profile. I'll just talk a little bit about that. This is very important, to keep updated with the My Connect system. So if you have an email address that you would like to update in our system, you can do all of that here. Email, phone number. You can make any changes to your security questions. Or we do have a two-step verification process. Like right now, I disabled the two-step verification for this demo purposes, but let's say if you would like to set up your two-step verification, this is where you come, you set up the two-step verification. You have the options of you can set up as a phone number, or you can set it up as an email, or you can set it up as an authentication app on your phone. So just an extra layer of security. All right, now I'm back into my summary screen and let's talk about the Action Center. The Action Center is very useful for you. You can come in here anytime to check. You will get notification that let's say if a return is due 5 days before a return due date or 15 days after the due date, you should be able to see all of that. Any letters that we send to you, everything will be in the Action Center for you. So please check it out when you have time. It's very important, very cool feature. We do have the More tab. The More tab, we all have let's say if you're looking for prior submissions, you can click on Start Submissions. You can manage payments and returns. This is an important one, taxpayer updates. Everybody like to have their address. Let's say if you're waiting for a refund or any correspondent from the department, you would like to have your updated address. And these are all done instantly. You just log in, just click on Manage Names and Address, and you just change your address or your names, and you will see the updates right away in the system. Over here, we have the correspondence panel. You can send a secure message to the department. You can even add an attachment to your message, and these are all secure. You can request a good status letter in here, and you can view any letters. And I don't want it to go through each one, but there's a lot more like where's my refund, what's my 1099-G amount. So let's say if you have a missing or stolen refund, you can just simply come here and just click on the form and submit to us. Or if you're requesting a penalty waiver. So please check it out. There's a lot more to offer in My Connect under the More tab. Now I'm going to return back over to my summary screen. And we'll talk a little bit about, let's say, for example, you file your return, you're not able to pay the amount that you owe to the department. We do have a payment plan. You can request a payment plan. There's a hyperlink that says request a payment plan. If you would like to make a payment to the department, make a payment only, or you can make estimated payment. View file returns and view periods. We'll touch base a little bit after we file the return because I do wanted to show you how to amend the return in My Connect. All right, so let's get started by clicking on the file now. I'm filing for their tax year, December 31st, 2024. As you can see here, I'm listed as a single filer, but you can make those changes once you get into the return. You can change the filing status. My due date is April 15 of 2025. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on File Now. The first page gives you a lot more information on the 1040 and the NRPY. I'm going to go ahead and click next. But before I move on, I wanted to point out that a cool feature My Connect has to offer is the Save Draft feature. This Save Draft feature, if I click on this, so for example, let's say if you're filing your return, you don't have all your W-2s with you and you get to that part and then you're like, all that information I just entered, do I lose all that information? No, you don't lose all that information. You simply click on the Save Draft feature and the system will save your return for 30 business days. Before the end of 30 business days, you will get a notification in the email, in your email inbox to say, hey, Randy, you have a return, you started a return. If you'd like to go back in and edit and make edits and continue editing, or you don't have to do anything. You don't have to log in. The system will delete your return after 30 business days. So for today's demo purposes, I'm not going to say finish later. I'm going to say continue editing, which brings me back into the return. Okay, you're seeing this message here because we're using our test system and we had to change the date in the system, so don't worry about that. But if you do come in here after the due date, then that's where you're going to see this banner as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and select my filing status, which is single. And as you can see, many of the fields are already pre-pop in here for you, so it makes it easy. So that's a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and click next. And I'm going to select the CT 1040. That's the one I'm filing today. And you can check any of these boxes. And then in the return, there's an option where you can attach your documents. And I'll show you that as well. All right, now, so I go next. There is a question for the Access Health CT. This is new for this year. I'm going to say no to that. And now I'm in the line one where the federal adjusted gross income. Also wanted to point out in My Connect, we do have over here on the right side, we have like all the different schedules that you're going. We give a brief description of the schedules. But let's say if you want more detailed information about the different schedules on the form, there's a hyperlink that says Return Instructions Booklet. Once you click onto that, it will bring you into the Connecticut Revenue Services pages, and it will give you more information on the 1040 return or NRPY return. Okay, so today we're going to enter my adjusted gross income. And this is a question that says, do you have any Schedule 1 additions or subtractions? No, I don't have any of those. So now I'm going to get to my primary residence. If there's any, if let's say if you pay any taxes, you can enter those on the property tax schedule, but I don't have any of those as well. So I'm going to proceed no to these questions. I don't have any CTITC credits. Click next. I do have a Schedule 4 individual use tax because I purchased some items on the internet and I would like to report that. So I didn't pay the tax at that time. So I'm going to scroll down to line 68B, 6.35%. I'm going to enter that dollar amount in there. And the cool thing about My Connect, it does most of the calculations for you. So all you have to do is just enter the required fields and leave it up to My Connect, and the application will do all the calculation for you. Okay, so now I'm into the withholding schedules. As you can see here, I do have on line 18A, I do have some W-2 to enter. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that amount in here. I don't have any tax withheld or wages. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. Once I do that, I get a screen pop up to say, are you sure? Can you just make sure that you're entering it correctly? Yes, I am sure. And now I am on the Schedule CTEITC Earned Income Tax Credit. And you will hear a lot more after my turn where my colleague will come in and they will talk more about Earned Income Tax Credit. But I wanted to show you how you will report your Earned Income Tax Credit to get back your refund. So here's a question. Do you claim federal Earned Income Tax Credit for 2024? I will say yes to this. And then do you have investment grader? No to that. Do you already file the form? This is already pre-selected. Do you claim qualifying children? Yes, I do. And I do have one child to enter. But if you do have more than one child, you can claim up to 3 children and you will enter that in the dropdown. All right, everything looks good. I'm going to go next. Now it brings me to enter my child's name, enter all that information in there, enter the social. And here's a relationship, which is son, daughter, or stepchild. I'll choose that option. Then I enter the date of birth, number of months living, which will be 12 for the full year. And here's some check boxes if the child was identified as student or being disabled, and none of those applied. All right, so I completed my step of entering my qualifying children. I only have one child, and now I'm going to go ahead and click next. Here's a question for Schedule EITC wage without withholding. Do you have, and I'm going to say no to that. All right, and now I'm on the EITC schedule. Line 8, Earned Income Tax Credit for EICT claim from Federal 1040, from 1040 SR. And I'm going to go ahead and enter that amount in here. And on line 9, it will show you the rate that it does the calculation. And again, you see how cool it is that I enter all the necessary information and then my Connect application does all the calculations for you. All right, once I do that, and the good news, once I plug in all the figures, if I scroll to the top of the screen, you can see that you're having a credit due. I mean, which you're getting back some money from your Earned Income Tax Credit. So this is a good news. And when it's green like that, you're getting back a refund. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and click next. And here's the question for the pass-through entity. I don't have any of that information to enter. No interest underpayment. And any prior payments, I don't have any of those. And now I am on where I need to select an option for my refund. I can say either check or direct deposit. And yes, everyone likes their money real quick in their bank account. So we do recommend you to use the direct deposit, because if you do check, it might take a few days for you to get it in the mail. It might get lost. So we do recommend that you enter the direct deposit information, and that's what we're going to do today. In the drop down, I will go ahead and select it's a checking account. I'm going to enter the account number, and we always like to confirm the bank account number so we know the money is going into my account. And here is the routing number. I'm going to enter that routing number. Once I enter the routing number, you can see the bank name that pre-popped for you. So I know that this is my bank, Bank of America. That's where my refund is going. Will this refund go from there outside of the US, come from outside the US? And the answer is no. And now I click next. And here's the attachment screen I was telling you earlier. So let's say if you need to send any documents with your 1040 return, you can do so by clicking on the add attachment screen. All right, click next, and I am in the summary screen, so you can see everything nicely summarized for you here. Income information. If I scroll down, and then they have another panel there. Here it says tax information, and then there's a refund information that shows you the refund that you're getting back, and if there's any tax due, there's none, or there's a refund. I'm going to go ahead and click next. Now I am on the declaration of taxpayers, and this is where we wanted a signature. And your signature, of course, is going to be electronic. So then you just go ahead and enter your first and last name in the field, and then you can click submit. And you got a confirmation number, and you will also receive a confirmation number in your email inbox. It's that easy to file your earned income tax credit return on MyConnect. We also provide a printable view for you, and here's a printable view. So basically, it gives you some demographic information. You can see the refund information here on this part. You got your confirmation number and all the different line items, and if there's any other schedules that you entered would be on this printable view PDF copy. Let's say if you walk away from your computer, you got timed out or your computer got closed out, and you're like, oh shoot, you know what? I need a copy of that PDF. Don't worry, you will always get a copy. And to do so, if we click OK, come back to the summary screen, go to the More tab. Remember the submission panel that I show you. You can search for submissions. So here we'll all have all your submissions listed, either processed, pending, or deleted. And once I click I locate the CT 1040 that I just filed, there will be an option here that hyperlink that says print. Once I click on the print hyperlink, it will open up a PDF, and you can able to print a copy of your return again. Now I'm going to return back over to my summary screen, and I'll touch base a little bit about the amended. We're not going to file one because I don't want to hold your time up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the view file returns and view period details. So let's say any of the periods that let's say, for example, 2022, I made a mistake. I need to amend something on my return. This is where you click on the hyperlink, you come into the return screen, locate the period, scroll over to the right. There's an option that will say view or amend return. Once I click into that, I will have the amend hyperlink. I will click into the hyperlink, and then I go next. And how you know you're in the amended return? Because there's a big banner on the top, and it says this is an amended return. Enter the amount that should have been reported on the return to correct the original return. And then you make all the changes that you like and go all the way to confirmation, and then you get a confirmation number at the end, and also email confirmation to tell you that you amend your return. All right, so now I am back on the summary screen, and I'm going to log out from here. So now I file my 1040 return. I claim earned income tax credit. I submit it to the department. Now the department comes back to me and says, they send me a letter in the mail saying, hey, Randy, we need more information on that child. For example, a birth certificate or, some kind of legal documentation to show that the child was living with you and it's your child. So you have to provide that documentation to the department. So we make it so easy for you. You don't have to send it in the mail. You don't have to worry to go to the post office. You just come here. You don't even have to log into the system. And on that letter that you will receive, we'll give you direction how to submit your documentation. So once you come to the MyConnect homepage, you locate the individuals panel, scroll all the way down to where it says upload earned income tax credit EITC documents. Once you click onto this, on that letter that you receive in the mail will have a letter ID. That letter ID, you will plug that letter ID in there, and then you're able to click next, and we will tell you what document is needed, and then you will go ahead and attach your documentation. You can attach your document to either PDF, you can scan a PDF, or you can do any Word documents, or you can take a picture with your phone. All of those are accepted in the upload. And the letter will look, for example, the letter upper right side, there's a letter ID, and it will look like this. It says CTEITC information request. That's the letter that you will receive in the mail. So we make everything easy for you. Today we talk about how to get to MyConnect, how easy it is to get to MyConnect. We show you some features that we do have. You don't have to log in, like look up where's my refund, what's my 1099-G, make estimated payments, extension payments, file certain returns on here, upload your EITC documentation, and show you how to create your username and password, get in the system, and file your CT-1040, claim your earned income tax credit, do a direct deposit, and get your money that easy. Thank you all for listening to me, and I will hand this over to my colleague.
Hi, Randy. Thank you so much for that explanation on how easy it is to upload the documents for the earned income tax credit if you have a request letter for the documents, and also to file a return. Thank you, everyone, for attending, and welcome to today's presentation for the Connecticut Earned Income Tax Credit webinar. My name is Marianne Sweet, and I have been part of the Connecticut EITC team since 2014. Today we'll be discussing what the EITC is, how it differs from the federal, and how taxpayers can qualify for the Connecticut EITC. Congress had passed or approved the federal EITC in 1975, in part as an incentive to work and also to offset the Social Security tax burden on low to moderate income families. The Connecticut EITC mirrors the federal. In most ways, it does differ in having to be a full year resident of Connecticut to be eligible. And federally, I think you can live in the United States for 6 months in order to claim the credit, but Connecticut would require full year residency. So again, you must have claimed and been allowed the federal credit, because we're offering 40% of what the federal allows, and be a full year resident of Connecticut, along with other criteria in order to be eligible for the Connecticut EITC. Connecticut is currently offering 40% of the federal. Who qualifies to claim the Connecticut EITC? Similar with the federal, you have to have valid Social Security numbers. You have to have earned income and be able to verify that income. Connecticut requires a full year residency. You have to meet certain income limits. And if you're married filing joint, your spouse must meet all the criteria for qualifications for the EITC. So what is considered earned income? Earned income is wages, salaries, tips, union strike benefits, long-term disability retirement received prior to the minimum retirement age, and net earnings from self-employment. Some things that are not considered earned income would be interest and dividends, Social Security benefits, unemployment compensation, alimony, child support, pensions, and annuities. Taxpayers may, if you're active duty, taxpayers may include for earned income non-taxable combat pay. So there are 4 tests that we review for the earned income tax credit. You have to be related to the child. You have to verify that the age requirements are within the limits of the credit. The child has to reside with you for over 6 months of the tax year. And if you're filing a joint return, that would be explained as you live with your parents, you're 18 years old, you're married in your parents' household, you would still qualify as your parents' qualifying child for the earned income tax credit if you're only filing a joint return to claim withholding tax. So what we may require from you, as Randy had explained, we may send a letter requesting documents, and he showed you how you would upload those documents. So we may be looking for you to verify your earned income, verify the relationship of the children that you're claiming, and verify your Connecticut residency. This is a a generic letter that goes out to taxpayers. And again, it's just our review process. It asks you to provide these documents within 30 days. It gives you the upload instructions on how to expedite your review process. If you're not going to upload them, it gives you our address where you can mail the documents in. You're claiming your own child, provide us with a copy of the birth certificate. Your name will be listed on that birth certificate. You have your relationship verified. If you're not claiming your own child, you're claiming a niece, a nephew, a brother, a sister, a grandchild, then you're going to have to provide your birth certificate, your sibling's birth certificate, whoever is the parent of the child, so we can verify that relationship. Proof the child lived with you, and this would be over the 6 months in the tax year. So we're going to ask for a school document, child care provider, social service documents, anything that will show the child's name, the name of the child's custodial parent, and the address that the child lived at in that period. If you're claiming somebody who is 19 or older, be sure to include that they're a full-time student, so that would be 12 credits or more, or that they are permanently disabled. Permanently and totally disabled will require a letter from their doctor. Wage and self-employment, provide your W-2. If you're self-employed, complete the SEQ, which is a Connecticut EITC self-employment questionnaire. And then in there, there's some check boxes for documents that we're going to require to verify the earned income. If you're new to Connecticut, first time filing in Connecticut, we're going to ask when you moved into Connecticut, when you moved out. We're going to ask you to provide a utility bill for January of the tax year and December of the tax year. We don't want 12 utility bills. We just want showing that your name is on this utility bill, that you were living in Connecticut at least January and then through December. And that would be considering the full year residency verification. Some common reasons where we might reduce or deny: we can't verify your earned income, either through self-employment or wages. We can't verify that the qualifying child meets the residency test. You were not a full year resident of Connecticut. We couldn't verify the relationship of the child that you're claiming. And you cannot be a dependent of another and claim the Connecticut Earned Income Tax Credit. So what you have here is a list of reasons why we would deny or adjust a credit. Again, we couldn't verify your earned income, and that's a requirement for the credit. We couldn't verify that you were a full year resident, or you may have been a non-resident. You know, you worked in Connecticut and thought you were a resident, but you're a non-resident. And then wherever you live is the state that you'd be the resident in. We didn't verify residency of the child at your home for over 6 months. We couldn't verify the relationship of the child. Your child over 19 did not verify that they were a full-time student or that they were permanently or totally disabled. So those are pretty much, I mean, sometimes the federal will adjust your EITC and then you have 90 days to amend your Connecticut with that adjustment. We may also adjust your EITC based on federal information. If you look down in the last paragraph in that letter, it tells you how you can appeal a decision if you think that we've made a mistake. So there is a form APL 505, Taxpayers Earned Income Tax Credit Protest, and you would upload that protest through My Connect, where Randy had showed you, in the same area where you would upload EITC documents. So what we have here are, to be eligible for the EITC, your income would have to be below these amounts that are listed for your filing status and the number of children, if any. The publication 596 has the tables to determine the amount of your credit based on your filing status, how many children you're claiming, and your adjusted gross income. So the maximum amount of EITC federally at this point, and this is where Connecticut would offer 40% of that, would be if you have no children, the max credit would be $632 federally. One qualifying child, $4,213. 2 qualifying children, $6,960, and with 3 or more qualifying children, the EITC is $7,830 federally, and then it would be 40% of Connecticut max.
All right. Thank you, Marianne. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kelly McLaughlin, and I'm going to give you a quick tour of our DRS Taxpayer Education Center. The Taxpayer Education Center can be found halfway down the DRS website at portal.ct.gov/DRS. The Taxpayer Education Center was created through the lens of a Connecticut taxpayer. The TPEDC provides informational videos and other helpful resources like registration for any upcoming webinars and new business flyers. We have videos that are specific to navigating our website. Then there are 2 video series, one for Connecticut residents filing and paying income tax, and the second is for part year and non-residents filing and paying Connecticut income tax. Finally, at the very bottom, you can find any previously recorded webinars, including in about a week's time, the recording of this webinar will be posted for you to review. You will also receive an email with a link to view the recording when it is ready. Videos will be added and updated often to reflect the most asked questions from taxpayers. The videos provide a quick and easy walkthrough of the topic presented. Also later today, you will receive an email with a brief survey about this webinar. Please take a few minutes to fill out the survey. Your feedback is appreciated and helpful to prepare for future webinars. Thank you. And now I'm going to bring back in Marianne to answer some of your frequently asked questions.
Okay.
Welcome back, Marianne.
Thank you.
Right, so do I have to have a child to qualify for the Connecticut EITC?
The answer to that is no, you don't have to have a child to qualify for the EITC. You can qualify on your own, but you would have to be between the ages of 25 and 65 years old and have earned income.
All right, excellent. Question 2, can I claim Connecticut EITC if my spouse or my children have an ITIN instead of a Social Security number?
No, you cannot claim the EITC if you have an ITIN, your spouse has an ITIN, or any of your children have an ITIN. If you have a Social Security number, you may be able to claim the EITC for yourself, but not for anyone who you have listed with an ITIN.
All right, excellent. Good to know. Question 3. Can I claim the Connecticut Earned Income Credit if I'm self-employed?
Yes, you can claim the earned income credit if you're self-employed, provided that you have verifiable earned income. It's important to maintain good business records. So if you have a taxable service, janitorial, nail technician, things like that, you want to make sure you're registered with the Department of Revenue for those services. And this will help us determine your reported income. If your records do not support what you report on your return, your claim may be denied.
Very good. What if I made a mistake when filing for Connecticut EITC?
You can always amend your return, as Randy had stated. You might have missed a W-2. You can go in and amend, include that income. Your EITC may be adjusted, but it would all be worked out through the amended return.
How can I get proof of my child living with me when my child is still a toddler and not enrolled in school yet?
Okay, that's a good question. If the birth certificate of the child has your current address, then you have proof of relationship and residency on one document. We would utilize that. A lot of times we get a 1095 at the end of the year to show that we've had insurance throughout the year. It would list the participant and their address, and it would show 12 months of covered benefit. Social service documents. So if you don't have the 1095, something like maybe if they're on Husky, you usually get renewals, and that would verify that the child resided with you also.
Great information. Next, why is my child's father required to submit documentation when we live in the same home?
Well, if the taxpayer is requested to provide documents. We're just trying to verify their eligibility for the EITC credit. So I would have him provide the documents, upload them through the MyConnect, and they will be reviewed and determine his eligibility.
Excellent. My EITC was denied because I moved out of Connecticut in October. Why was it denied if I lived here most of the year?
Yeah, a lot of taxpayers are confused on that one. Sometimes they say their preparer said, oh, you lived here longer, and that's why we're going to file you as a resident in Connecticut. But really, if you moved out of Connecticut in October, you were a part-year resident in Connecticut. You did not meet the 12-month requirement living here on January 1st through December 31st. So you would be denied as a part-year resident. A part-year resident return does not have the earned income tax credit on it.
Okay. And kind of as a follow-up to that, why was my EITC denied?
If your EITC is denied, as you saw in the list of denials that we had earlier, it would specify a reason for the denial. Either we couldn't verify the residency of the child, it could be the IRS tiebreaker rule if somebody else was claiming and we verified the other taxpayer was eligible. And we would explain that in the letter. We would also give you appellate rights, which is another opportunity to say, no, I really believe I'm entitled to this credit, and you would submit your appeal that way.
Good to know. Question 9. I am divorced. There is a court order that states I claim my children on the odd year and their mother claiming them on the even year. She claimed them on the odd year and got the refund, and mine got denied. What recourse do I have to get my refund?
Well, we do get a lot of custody agreements, and a lot of times they come in with, I get to claim every other year. That may be part of a dependent credit, maybe a child tax credit where the non-custodial parent can claim every other year. The EITC is based on custodial parent. So if there's a primary, the child primarily lives with the father, then we would go with that as the residency. And so it is the credit that you can claim as a non-custodial parent is something you could do every other year and provide it to the IRS, but the state of Connecticut doesn't have that. So we're just looking for custodial parent. Show us that the child resided with you over 6 months, and you will get the credit.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Marianne. And I think
you're
that
welcome.
wraps it up for our question and answers. And in fact, that concludes today's webinar. Thank you for joining us for the Connecticut Earned Income Tax Credit webinar. If you should have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us by telephone at 860-297-5962. You can email us at drs@ct.gov or send us a secure message through MyConnect. You can also find a lot of information on our website at portal.ct.gov/DRS. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you soon.